Captain Dae-ho Kim stood at the edge of the Great Chamber. The Galaxy Council meeting hall was bigger than any building he had ever seen. Thousands of alien beings filled the seats that went up and up like a mountain made of metal and glass. Some aliens had tentacles instead of arms. Others looked like walking crystals that sparkled in the light. A few were so strange that Dae-ho could not even guess what they were. The air smelled different here. It was thick and heavy, mixed with the breathing of 100 different species. Dae-ho wore his best uniform, the dark blue one with gold buttons, that showed he spoke for all humans. Next to him stood Ambassador Yoonji Park. She was small, but her eyes were sharp like a knife. She had been dealing with aliens for 20 years and knew their ways better than anyone. At the center of the chamber sat Council Prime Vexthara. She was ancient, older than human cities. Her body was made of living crystal that changed colors when she spoke. Green meant calm. Red meant anger. Right now, she was glowing a deep purple that meant she was making an important decision. "The vote is complete," Vexthara said. Her voice came from everywhere at once, like thunder in the sky. 847 members vote yes. 1 member does not vote. 0 members vote no. Dae-ho felt his heart beat faster. He knew what this vote meant. For 300 years, the Galaxy Council had kept peace between thousands of worlds. They decided who could live where and who could trade with whom. They had rules about everything, and now they had made a new rule about humans. The human species will stop growing to new worlds, Vexthara continued. You now control 47 star systems. This is enough. You will not take any more. The chamber was so quiet that Dae-ho could hear his own breathing. Thousands of alien eyes watched him. Some looked happy, others looked worried, but most just looked curious about what the young human would do. You will also give us your fast travel technology, another voice said. This came from Counselor Thane, a being that looked like a giant metal spider. Your ships move too fast between stars. This makes other species afraid. Dae-ho wanted to laugh, but he did not. Human ships were not faster than alien ships. Humans had just found a better way to travel through space. They had worked hard and studied the stars for many years. But the aliens called this too fast because they had not thought of it first. Finally, Vexthara said, and now her crystal body was glowing bright red. All human colonies will accept council watchers. These watchers will make sure you follow our rules. Ambassador Park stepped forward. Her face showed no feeling, but Dae-ho knew she was angry. Council Prime, she said in her calm voice. You ask us to stop growing. You ask us to give away our science. You ask us to let strangers rule our homes. What do we get in return? You get to stay alive, said another counselor. This one looked like a giant bird with too many wings. Young species often make mistakes. We are trying to help you not make those mistakes. Help? Park asked. By taking away our freedom? Freedom must be earned, Vexthara replied. Humans have only been in space for 300 years. Other species have been here for thousands of years. You are still children learning to walk. Dae-ho felt heat rise in his chest. Children. Humans had built cities on dead worlds. They had made gardens grow in empty space. They had created medicines that saved alien lives too. But the council saw them as children because they were new to the galaxy. We need your answer now. Thane clicked with his metal legs. Do you accept these terms? The chamber waited. Every alien leaned forward to hear what the humans would say. Some probably expected the humans to beg. Others might have thought they would get angry and shout. A few wise ones looked worried as if they knew something bad was coming. Dae-ho looked at Park. She gave him a tiny nod. They had talked about this moment many times. They had hoped it would never come. But they were ready. Honored Council, Dae-ho said. His voice was steady and calm. We thank you for your offer. It is not an offer, Vexthara said. glowing brighter, red. "It is a command." "We understand," Deho replied, "and we thank you for making your position clear." He paused and looked around the great chamber, at all the aliens who thought they could tell humans what to do, at the beings who had lived for thousands of years but had never learned to truly listen. "We will give you our answer," Deho said. "But first, we ask for time to discuss this among our people. 72 standard hours should be enough." 72 hours? Thane's metal legs clicked faster. "This is not a discussion, this is a command that you will follow now." "Nevertheless," Park said, stepping up beside Deho, "we ask for 72 hours. "And if we say no?" Vexathara asked. Deho smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that made smart people step back and think twice. "Then we close every channel," he said. The chamber erupted in noise. Aliens chattered and clicked and buzzed in 100 different languages. Some laughed because they thought this was funny. What could humans do? They were young and small compared to the great galaxy. Vexathara raised one crystal arm and the noise stopped. "You threaten the council?" she asked. "We make no threats," Deho said. "We simply tell you what will happen. 72 hours Council Prime. Then we close every channel." "Impossible," muttered Counselor Nexar, a blob-like creature that spoke through bubbles. "They cannot close channels. Channels belong to the galaxy." "We shall see," Park said quietly. Deho bowed slightly to the council. It was polite, but not deep. Just enough to show respect for the chamber, but not for the decision they had made. 72 hours, he repeated. Then he turned and walked toward the exit. Park followed him. Their footsteps echoed in the huge chamber as thousands of aliens watched them leave. Behind them, the noise started again. But now it sounded different. Before, it had been confident chatter. Now, it sounded worried. As if some of the older, wiser beings in the chamber were starting to remember that humans had surprised the galaxy before, and they were about to do it again. Admiral Boram Lee stood on the bridge of her flagship watching the timer count down. 71 hours and 59 minutes had passed since Captain Kim and Ambassador Park left the council chambers. In 1 minute, everything would change. Around her, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. They had been practicing this moment for months, but no one really knew what would happen when they pressed the button. No species in galactic history had ever tried to disappear completely. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Jae-Min Cho from his station. "All ships report ready. All colonies confirm they are standing by." Boram nodded. Through the view screen, she could see the edge of human space. Beyond that invisible line lay the rest of the galaxy. Behind her were 47 star systems that humans called home. In a few seconds, those two parts of space would become completely separate. "Director Han, are your people ready?" Boram asked into her communicator. "Ready, Admiral," came the reply from Sujin Han. She was in charge of all human colonies and had spent weeks making sure every settlement knew what to do. "Every colony has enough supplies for 2 years. Every communication array is prepared for shutdown." Boram looked at the timer. 30 seconds left. The plan had started 3 years ago when smart humans began to worry about the council. They saw how the alien government treated other young species. They watched as promising civilizations were forced to give up their best ideas and accept alien control. The council called it guidance, but humans called it slavery. So they began to prepare. In secret, human engineers built new kinds of communication systems that only humans could use. Human farmers learned to grow food without alien seeds. Human factories started making everything humans needed without buying from alien companies. 10 seconds, Cho announced. Boram took a deep breath. Her great-grandmother had been born on Earth before humans even knew aliens existed. Her grandmother had seen the first alien ships arrive. Her mother had watched humans join the galactic community. And now Bo-Ram would watch humans leave it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, execute. Cho pressed a blue button on his console. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The stars looked the same. The ships around them floated in space as they always had. But then the communication boards began to change. Every signal that connected human space to the galaxy went dark. Communication blackout complete, Cho reported. All hyperspace beacons offline. All quantum networks severed. All subspace relays shut down. Phase 2, Bo-Ram ordered. This was the part that even most humans did not know about. Dr. Min-ho Park, Yoonji's younger brother, had spent 5 years working on something he called the shadow field. It used quantum science that was so advanced that even human scientists barely understood it. Shadow field generators are online, Cho said, reading from multiple screens. Field is expanding around all human systems. Bo-Ram watched the view screen, as space itself seemed to shimmer. It was like looking at water when someone drops a stone into it. Waves of energy spread out from hidden generators that humans had built in asteroid fields and empty space. Within an hour, every human star system would be wrapped in this field. From the outside, alien sensors would see nothing but empty space. Ships trying to enter human territory would find their navigation computers confused and their sensors blind. They would think they were exploring empty regions of the galaxy while actually being guided away from human worlds. All colonies report successful shadow field activation, came Director Han's voice. We are now invisible. Bo-Ram felt a strange mix of pride and sadness. Pride because humans had actually done it. They had vanished from the galaxy like ghosts. Sadness because it meant leaving behind friends they had made among the alien races, but the Council had forced this choice. They wanted humans to be slaves, and humans refused. Admiral, Cho said, we're getting emergency signals from alien ships near our borders. Put them on speaker. The bridge filled with confused alien voices speaking in different languages. Bo-Ram heard words like disappeared and impossible and where did they go? Ships that had been traveling toward human space found themselves suddenly lost with no idea where they were. They can't see us anymore, Bo-Ram said with satisfaction. To them, we just stopped existing. Across human space, similar scenes were playing out. On colony worlds, humans watched as alien trading ships approached their planets and then flew past as if the planets were not there. The shadow field made human worlds invisible to alien sensors while still allowing humans to see out. Director, Han's voice came through the communicator again. Admiral, I'm getting reports from our hidden monitoring stations. The galaxy is going crazy. Ships are disappearing from alien traffic control. Trade routes that go through our space are showing up as empty void. Some aliens think their equipment is broken. Bo-Ram smiled. The plan was working better than they had hoped. For 300 years, humans had quietly become important to galactic trade. Many major shipping routes passed through human space because humans had built the best navigation beacons. Human colonies provided fuel and supplies to alien travelers. Human factories made parts that alien ships needed. And now all of that was gone. What about our people who were traveling in alien space? Bo-Ram asked. All safely home, Han replied. We recalled every human ship, every human trader, every human tourist over the past month. We told them it was for a census. That had been the hardest part of the plan. Bringing home thousands of humans who worked or lived in alien space without making the aliens suspicious. They had used every excuse they could think of. Family emergencies, government meetings, cultural celebrations, anything to get humans back to human space before the shutdown. Long-range sensors show something interesting, Cho reported. Alien military ships are moving toward our borders. 3 fleets so far. Let them come. Boram said. They'll find nothing but empty space. Through the view screen, she could see stars that now belonged to a galaxy humans had left behind. Those stars still shone with the same light, but the connections between them and human space were broken. It was like cutting a rope bridge. Both sides of the canyon still existed, but no one could cross anymore. "Admiral," came a new voice from the communication system. It was Captain Kim calling from the diplomatic ship that had brought him and Ambassador Park home. "We're getting signals from the Council. They want to talk." "Tell them our communication systems are down," Boram replied. "Tell them we can't hear them anymore." It was not exactly a lie. The communication systems that could talk to aliens were down, but humans could still talk to each other using their secret networks. "They're demanding explanations," Kim continued. "They want to know what happened to us." "They'll figure it out eventually," Boram said, "when their precious galaxy starts falling apart." She was not being mean. She was being realistic. Humans had studied galactic trade for 300 years. They knew which routes depended on human space. They knew which alien colonies needed human supplies. They knew which alien governments relied on taxes from trade that passed through human systems. The Council thought humans were unimportant children. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "All stations report ready for Phase 3, Cho announced. Phase 3 was simple. Wait and watch. Let the galaxy try to function without humans. Let the aliens discover what humans already knew, that the young species they had dismissed as children had become the backbone that held galactic civilization together. Execute Phase 3, Boram ordered. Begin monitoring alien communications. I want to know everything that happens out there." "Yes, Admiral. Monitoring stations are active. We'll hear everything while staying invisible." Boram settled into her command chair. The easy part was over. They had successfully vanished from the galaxy. Now came the hard part, waiting to see how long the aliens could survive without them. 6 months had passed since the humans vanished, and merchant Prince Zeltharion was running out of money. He stood in his empty warehouse on Nexus Prime Station, looking at shelves that should have been full of goods. Instead, they held only dust and broken dreams. His 4 arms hung limp at his sides as he stared at the financial reports glowing on his wall screen. Red numbers everywhere. His trading company, built over 2 centuries, was dying. "Sir," his assistant Crix spoke nervously through her beak-like mouth. "The Altarian delegation is here to see you. They say you owe them money for medical supplies." Zeltharion's throat sacs deflated with a sigh. The medical supplies. He had promised to deliver them 3 months ago. They were supposed to come from human colonies that had the best pharmaceutical factories in the galaxy, but those colonies had disappeared along with everything else human. "Tell them I will pay next week," he said, knowing it was a lie. "Sir, you told them that last week." "And the week before?" Zeltharion wanted to throw something, but his people were taught to control their emotions. Still, 6 months of watching his business collapse was testing that control. It had started so simply. One day, human colonies stopped answering calls. Human ships disappeared from space lanes. Human trading posts went dark. At first, everyone thought it was some kind of technical problem. Surely the humans would fix whatever was broken and come back. But they did not come back. The first crisis hit the shipping companies. Major trade routes that passed through human space became impossible to navigate. Ships would enter the area, where human systems should be, and find nothing but empty void. Their computers would spin in circles, unable to find any reference points. Zeltharion had lost 6 cargo ships that way. Good ships with experienced crews all vanished, while trying to use routes that had worked for centuries. The crews were not dead. Rescue ships found them floating confused in empty space, claiming they had been flying through normal space when suddenly all their navigation equipment stopped working. "Sir," Crix said again, "there's something else. The Hegemony Transport Guild is here. They want to cancel our shipping contracts." Of course they did. Zeltharian's company had specialized in moving goods through human space. His ships knew the safe routes. His crews had good relationships with human traffic controllers. His warehouses were perfectly positioned to take advantage of the efficient human systems. All of that was worthless now. "How many other companies are they canceling?" Zeltharian asked. "All of them, sir. Every company that used human space for shipping. That was thousands of businesses across the galaxy. The humans had been so helpful, so efficient, that everyone had started using their routes. Human space traffic controllers were polite and quick. Human refueling stations always had what you needed. Human colonies provided excellent rest stops for long voyages. Without those advantages, shipping costs had tripled. Some routes that used to take weeks now took months as ships had to find new paths through dangerous or poorly mapped space." Zeltharian walked to his window and looked out at the station's main docking bay. It should have been full of ships loading and unloading cargo. Instead, half the berths were empty. The ships that were there looked old and tired, like their owners could not afford better. "The agricultural crisis is getting worse," Crix reported, reading from her datapad. 7 more colonies have declared famine emergencies. Zeltharian was not surprised. Human colonies had produced some of the galaxy's best food. Their farming techniques were so advanced that they could grow crops on worlds where nothing should live. Human agricultural scientists had shared seeds and knowledge with struggling colonies across the galaxy. Now those colonies were failing. Without human farming technology and supplies, they could not feed their people. Some had tried to develop their own solutions, but that took years, and they needed food now. "What about the medical supplies?" Zeltharian asked, though he dreaded the answer. "Even worse, sir. The Vegan flu is spreading through the outer rim worlds. Normally, human pharmaceutical companies would have vaccines ready within weeks, but the human pharmaceutical companies had vanished along with everything else. Human medical research had been the best in the galaxy. Their factories produced medicines that saved millions of lives every year. Their doctors had developed treatments for diseases that had plagued alien species for generations. All gone. Zeltharian's throat sacs inflated and deflated rapidly, a sign of extreme stress among his people. His own nephew lived on one of the outer rim colonies. If the flu reached there and there were no vaccines. "Sir, there's more bad news. The Zero-Point Industrial Complex has shut down." Zeltharian's 4 eyes widened. The Zero-Point Complex was the largest manufacturing facility in the galaxy. It built starship engines for hundreds of species, but it depended on special alloys that only human space foundries could produce. Human foundries worked in zero gravity and perfect vacuum, conditions that allowed them to create materials that were impossible to make anywhere else. Every major shipyard in the galaxy used human alloys. Every advanced piece of technology relied on human precision manufacturing. "How many workers are they laying off?" Zeltharian asked. "All of them, sir. 12 million workers across 40 systems, 12 million beings out of work, 12 million families without income. And that was just one industrial complex." Reports were coming in from across the galaxy about factories closing, research centers shutting down, entire economic sectors collapsing. The humans had not just provided services to the galaxy, they had become essential to how the galaxy worked. Like a vital organ in a body, no one noticed how important they were until they were gone. "Any word from the council?" Zeltharian asked. Crix's feathers ruffled with nervousness. They're having problems, sir." "What kind of problems?" "Member species are withdrawing from the council. The Centaurian Alliance left yesterday. The Rigel Confederation is threatening to leave tomorrow. Everyone is blaming the council for driving away the humans." Zeltharian was not surprised. The council's authority came from its ability to keep the galaxy peaceful and prosperous. But with human space cut off, prosperity was crashing. Trade Wars were starting as species fought over the remaining profitable routes. Some regions were talking about armed conflict. "Sir," Crick said quietly, "I've been thinking, what if the humans planned this?" Planned what? All of it. What if they knew we would need them? What if they made themselves important on purpose? Zeltharion considered this. For 300 years, humans had been helpful almost to a fault. They had shared technology freely. They had offered assistance to struggling colonies. They had built the infrastructure that made galactic trade possible. At the time, it had seemed like generosity. Now it looked like strategy. "You think they knew the Council would try to control them?" Zeltharion asked. "I think they prepared for it, sir. No species just disappears like that without planning." Zeltharion walked back to his desk and sat down, heavily. His business was ruined. His nephew might die from a plague that humans could have stopped. The galaxy was falling apart. And somewhere out there, invisible and unreachable, humans were probably watching it all happen. "Sir, what should we do?" Zeltharion looked at the red numbers on his screen, at reports of failing colonies and closing factories, at the slow collapse of everything the galaxy had built. "We wait," he said finally. "We wait, and hope the humans come back before everything falls apart completely." But deep in his stomach sacks, he feared they might be waiting too long. General Krickstar stood before the holographic map showing the empty region where human space used to be. His scaled hands clenched into fists as he stared at the void that had replaced 47 star systems. Around him, his best admirals and scouts waited nervously for orders. "Report!" he growled through his sharp teeth. Admiral Nexthara stepped forward, her tentacles writhing with anxiety. "Sir, the 15th expedition has returned. Like all the others, they found nothing." "Nothing?" "Empty space, sir. Their sensors detected no planets, no stations, no ships. The star systems that should be there simply aren't." Krickstar's tail lashed against the floor. For 8 months, he had sent ship after ship into the region where humans used to live. Military vessels with the galaxy's best sensors, scout ships with advanced exploration equipment, even psychic species who claimed they could find anything, all returned with the same impossible report. The human star systems had simply stopped existing. "What about the mercenaries?" Krickstar asked. "The Shadow Runners took payment and departed 3 weeks ago," another admiral reported. "They claimed human space was empty void and they would not waste time searching for ghosts. The Shadow Runners were the best scouts money could buy. If they said something did not exist, most people believed them. But Krickstar knew the humans were out there somewhere. "Sir," Admiral Nexthara said carefully, "perhaps we should consider that the humans are actually gone. Some weapon or disaster could have destroyed their entire civilization." "Impossible," Krickstar snapped. "You don't destroy 47 star systems without leaving traces. There would be debris fields, radiation signatures, something." But his sensors found nothing at all. It was as if human space had been edited out of reality itself. Krickstar walked to another display showing galactic economic reports. The numbers made his stomach turn. Gross galactic product had dropped by 30%. Unemployment was climbing toward historical highs. Entire sectors of the economy had collapsed. The Council had tasked him with finding the humans and bringing them back. They needed human trade routes reopened. They needed human manufacturing restored. They needed human medical supplies flowing again. Most of all, they needed to prove that the Great Galaxy Council was still in control. "Sir," a new voice spoke from the communication station. "Priority message from Council Prime Vexithara." Put her through. The air shimmered, and Vexithara's crystal form appeared as a hologram. Her usually bright colors were dim and flickering, a sign of great stress among her people. "General, what is your progress?" she asked. "We have searched every region where humans should be," Krickstar reported. "Our instruments detect nothing. No matter what approach vector we use, we find only empty space. This is unacceptable. 47 star systems cannot simply vanish. I agree, Council Prime. But my instruments don't lie. Vexithara's colors shifted to angry red. Then your instruments are inadequate. Find better ones. Krixtar wanted to point out that they had already tried every type of sensor in the galaxy, but arguing with the Council Prime was not wise when his own career depended on solving this problem. Council Prime, I request permission to expand the search. Perhaps the humans relocated to uncharted regions. Permission granted. Use whatever resources you need. The hologram flickered out, leaving Krixtar alone with his officers. He could see doubt in their eyes. They were starting to think this mission was impossible. Sir, Admiral Nexthera said quietly, there's something else you should know. Intelligence. Reports suggest that human agents were operating throughout the galaxy for years before they disappeared. What kind of operations? Unknown, sir. But we've found evidence of humans in unusual places. A human researcher working in a classified weapons lab. A human trader who had access to economic data. A human diplomat who attended private security. Briefings. Krixtar's scales bristled. Spies? Possibly, sir. Or they could have been gathering information for some other purpose. This was disturbing news. If humans had been planning their disappearance for years, they might have learned things about alien technology and tactics. They might know how to counter any attempt to find them. Have we located any of these human agents? Krixtar asked. No, sir. They all disappeared at the same time as everyone else. But we found their equipment and living spaces. And? Nothing suspicious, sir. They lived normal lives, did normal work. If they were spies, they were very good ones. Krixtar paced in front of the holographic displays. Normal lives, normal work. But somehow they had all known exactly when to leave. That kind of coordination required incredible planning and communication. Sir, another officer called out, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Vegan system. Admiral Thex Nara is reporting something unusual. Put her through. Admiral Thex Nara's fish-like face appeared on the screen. Her gills were fluttering rapidly, a sign of excitement among her species. General, I may have found something. My ships detected an energy signature near the edge of what used to be human space. Krixtar felt his pulse quicken. What kind of signature? Unknown, sir. But it's artificial, not natural cosmic phenomena. Coordinates? Transmitting now, sir. Krixtar studied the location on his map. It was at the very border of the region where human systems should be, close enough to investigate but far enough away that previous expeditions might have missed it. Admiral Nexthera, prepare the assault fleet. We're going to investigate this personally. Sir, is that wise? If the humans have weapons, then we'll be ready for them. I want every ship armed and shielded. I want our best crews and our heaviest firepower. Within hours, Krixtar's fleet was moving toward the coordinates. 50 ships carrying the galaxy's finest warriors and most advanced weapons. If the humans were hiding somewhere in that region, this force would find them. But as they approached, the coordinates, something strange happened. The ship's navigation systems began to malfunction. Sensors showed conflicting readings. Communications between ships became fuzzy and unreliable. Sir, the navigation officer reported, our computers can't agree on our position. Some systems say we're approaching the target. Others say we're moving away from it. Override the computers. Navigate manually. Sir, visual navigation shows empty space ahead. But our long-range sensors insist there are massive objects out there. Krixtar stared through the bridge viewports. He saw stars and empty darkness. Nothing else. But his instruments claimed they were approaching something huge. Sir, the sensor operator called out, I'm detecting 53 energy sources directly ahead. Ship-sized objects. I see nothing, Krixtar growled. Sir, the energy sources are powering up. They appear to be weapons charging. Krixtar felt ice in his veins. Invisible enemies with weapons pointed at his fleet. This was worse than facing an army he could see. All ships, battle stations, prepare for... Sir, the communications officer interrupted. We're receiving a transmission. Audio only. From where? Unknown, sir. The signal appears to be coming from everywhere at once. Put it through. A calm, human voice filled the bridge. Krikstar recognized it immediately. Captain Dae-ho Kim, the diplomat who had walked out of the council chambers 10 months ago. General Krikstar, the voice said, you are trespassing in sovereign human space. Turn around and leave immediately. Impossible, Krikstar snarled. There's nothing here. Our sensors show empty void. Your sensors show what we want them to show. This is your only warning. Leave now. Krikstar's pride flared. No young species told him what to do. I have 50 warships. Show yourselves and fight. Very well. The stars around them suddenly changed. Empty space filled with human ships that seemed to materialize from nothing. Not 40 or 50 ships, but hundreds. Sleek vessels that looked more advanced than anything Krikstar had ever seen. His fleet was surrounded. 1 year to the day after humans disappeared from the galaxy, they came back. President Taeyong Song stood on the bridge of the flagship New Earth as it materialized above Nexus Prime Station. Around them, space filled with human vessels appearing, like ghosts becoming solid. Each ship was sleeker and more advanced than anything the galaxy had seen before. Through the viewports, Song could see alien ships scrambling in panic. Some tried to flee. Others powered up weapons but then hesitated, unsure whether to fight or surrender. Most just floated in space, their crews probably staring in shock at the sudden appearance of hundreds of human vessels. Admiral O. Status. Report, Song requested. Fleet Admiral Subin O stepped forward, her new uniform crisp and decorated with symbols of humanity's year in isolation. All fleets in position, Madam President. We have ships at every major galactic hub, every council, world, and every important trade station. Casualties? None, ma'am. Our appearance was coordinated perfectly. No alien vessel was harmed during materialization. Song nodded with satisfaction. Even now, humans tried to avoid unnecessary violence. But they had learned that sometimes a show of overwhelming force prevented more bloodshed than trying to appear weak and harmless. Open a channel to the Galaxy Council, Song ordered. Channel open, ma'am. Song walked to the center of the bridge where cameras would transmit her image. Across the galaxy, she wore simple civilian clothes rather than a military uniform. She wanted the aliens to see her as a leader, not a conqueror. People of the galaxy, she began, her voice calm and steady. I am President Song of the United Human Colonies. 1 year ago, your council demanded that humanity surrender our freedom and submit to alien rule. We declined that offer. On screens throughout the bridge, Song could see alien reactions from across the galaxy. Some faces showed relief that humans had returned. Others showed fear at the size of the human fleet. Many showed confusion about what had happened to their former trading partners. During our absence, we have watched your struggles. We have seen colonies fail without human medical supplies. We have witnessed trade networks collapse without human shipping routes. We have observed the gradual breakdown of the galactic economy that took centuries to build. Song paused, letting that sink in. The humans had not been idle during their year away. Hidden monitoring stations had recorded everything that happened in the galaxy. They knew which worlds were suffering. They knew which governments were failing. They knew exactly how much damage their absence had caused. Today we return with an offer of our own. Ambassador Yoonji Park appeared on the screen beside Song. She held a formal document that contained humanity's new terms for rejoining galactic civilization. The United Human Colonies claims sovereignty over 93 star systems, Park announced. This includes our original 47 systems, plus 46 additional systems that we have colonized during our absence. Gasps and shouts erupted from alien communication channels. 93 systems? How had humans nearly doubled their territory in just 1 year? These systems are now under exclusive human control, Park continued. No alien vessel may enter human space without permission. No alien government may establish bases or colonies in human territory. No alien organization may interfere with human internal affairs. Song stepped forward again. In exchange for recognition of these boundaries, humanity will restore trade relationships with all species that accept our sovereignty. We will reopen shipping routes through human space. We will resume medical and agricultural exports to worlds in need. The bridge communication station lit up with incoming calls from alien governments. Song ignored them for now. They would have time to negotiate details later. However, Song continued, humanity will no longer participate in the Galaxy Council, as currently constituted. The Council's decision-making process has proven unable to represent the interests of all species fairly. Admiral O whispered in Song's ear, "Ma'am, we're receiving an emergency transmission from Council Prime Vexithara. She's demanding immediate negotiations." "Tell her she can request a meeting through proper diplomatic channels," Song replied. "We are no longer subject to Council commands." Song turned back to the cameras. Humanity proposes a new galactic organization, one based on equality between species rather than the rule of ancient powers over younger ones. Each member species would have representation proportional to their contribution to galactic prosperity and security. This was revolutionary. The old council gave votes based on how long a species had been part of galactic civilization. Humans were proposing a system where influence matched actual contribution to the galaxy's well-being. Any species that wishes to join this new organization is welcome to send representatives to New Geneva Station, which we have constructed at the edge of human space. Negotiations will begin in 30 days. Song gestured to Admiral O, who activated additional displays showing the scope of human achievements during their year of isolation. During our absence, human colonies have developed new technologies and expanded our capabilities significantly. We have established mining operations in previously unreachable systems. We have built manufacturing facilities that can produce goods impossible to create elsewhere. We have founded research centers working on problems that affect all galactic species. The displays showed images of massive space stations, advanced starships, and colonies on worlds that should have been uninhabitable. In 1 year, humans had accomplished what most species took decades to achieve. These advances are available to share with species that recognize human sovereignty and join our proposed galactic partnership. Medical treatments for diseases that have plagued your worlds for generations. Agricultural techniques that can feed billions. Manufacturing processes that can build anything you need. Song could see the desperation in alien faces as they realized what humans were offering. During the past year, many alien worlds had struggled without human technology and assistance. Now humans were offering even better help than before, but only to those who treated them as equals. To demonstrate our goodwill, we will immediately provide emergency medical supplies to worlds affected by the Vegan flu pandemic. Human medical ships are already en route to 37 systems where the disease has caused the most suffering. This was calculated to show both human capability and human compassion. Even after a year of galactic hostility toward humanity, humans were still willing to save alien lives. We also offer immediate food assistance to colonies experiencing famine. Human agricultural ships will deliver supplies to any world in need, regardless of their government's political position. Song paused again, watching alien leaders struggle with the implications of humanity's return. The galaxy needed humans far more than humans needed the galaxy. The past year had proven that beyond doubt. Finally, we announced the establishment of the Human Defense Force. This military organization exists solely to protect human space and human citizens. We have no interest in conquest or aggression against other species. Admiral O stepped forward. The Human Defense Force currently consists of 800 frontline vessels and supporting infrastructure across 93 star systems. These forces are purely defensive in nature. 800 warships was larger than most alien species' entire military. The message was clear. Humans could defend themselves against any threat. Questions and formal communications should be directed. To Ambassador Park at New Geneva Station, Song concluded. We look forward to building a better future for all galactic species based on mutual respect and cooperation. Song nodded to the communication officer who closed the channel. Across the galaxy, alien governments would now scramble to decide how to respond to humanity's return and their new terms. Admiral, what's the status of alien fleet movements? Song asked. Several species are moving warships toward our borders, ma'am, but they're maintaining respectful distances. I don't think anyone wants to test our defensive capabilities? Good. What about diplomatic responses? 43 species have already requested meetings with Ambassador Park. The Altarian Union wants to establish formal trade agreements immediately. The Centaurian Alliance is asking about joining our proposed galactic organization. Song smiled. The plan was working exactly as human strategists had predicted. A year of economic hardship had taught the galaxy to value human contribution. Now, they were eager to restore those relationships on any terms humans offered. Madam President, Admiral O said quietly, Council Prime Vexithara is still demanding immediate negotiations. She claims the Council has authority over all galactic species. The Council's authority depends on species choosing to accept it, Song replied. We choose not to. Should I prepare for possible military action from Council forces? Song looked through the viewport at the alien ships around them. Some were Council military vessels, but they made no aggressive moves. Their commanders probably understood that attacking the human fleet would be suicide. No preparation needed, Admiral. If the Council wants to try forcing our compliance, they're welcome to learn what happened to General Krikstar's expedition. Admiral O smiled grimly. Krikstar's 50-ship fleet had been sent home with their weapons disabled and their crews thoroughly humbled.